tell me about yourself. Well, it sounds like such a simple request, right? But man, it is often the absolute hardest one to answer, especially in a new language. Honestly, even in your native language, it can be a totally daunting question to face. But welcome to this explainer where we're going to fix that. Just think about it for a second. Whether you're walking into a brand new class, starting a new job, or maybe just mingling at a party, this huge open-ended question is inevitably going to pop up. And it's completely normal to feel this sudden wave of panic. Like, where do you even start? What do people actually want to hear? Well, take a deep breath because today we are making it easy and fun. We're going to break this introduction down into 5 simple steps. The basics, work and studies, family and pets, favorites and hobbies, and finally, adapting your intro. And to show you how it's done, we'll use real examples from our source material featuring 2 English speakers, Paul and Emily. Let's dive in. All right, step 1, the basics. We're talking name, origin, and age. You always want to start with your identity. Just a simple, my name is. Then tell him where you're from. Consider Paul's example. He's from Canada, and he lives in a small, quiet town in a house with a garden. It paints a really peaceful picture, right? Now contrast that with Emily. She's from the United States, living in a big, busy, noisy city in a small apartment. See what they did there? By adding just a couple of everyday adjectives like quiet or busy right alongside your home country, you instantly give the listener a vivid snapshot of your daily life. It's brilliant. Okay, next up in the basics is your age. Our source shows Paul stating, I am 28 years old, while Emily says, I am 25 years old. Now, the big takeaway here is that age is totally optional. It's a standard detail, sure, but you should only include it if you feel completely comfortable sharing it. It's just a quick, easy sentence structure to get a basic fact out of the way before we get to the fun stuff. Moving right along to step 2, what do you do? This covers work and studies. So your professional or student life is a huge piece of your introduction puzzle. And guess what? You don't need fancy grammar here. If you work, just say, I am a teacher, exactly like Paul. If you study, say, I am a student, like Emily. From there, just add one little detail. Emily mentions she studies art and loves to draw and paint, while Paul adds that he teaches English. Do you love your job? Tell them. Let that enthusiasm shine through. On to step 3, sharing your world. Let's talk family and pets. Mentioning your family is a great way to naturally expand your world for the listener. You can bring up siblings using simple words like older or younger. For instance, Paul has a younger sister, Sarah, who studies music. Emily has an older brother, Tom, who's 29. And here's a fantastic bonus tip from our source. Briefly mention your parents' jobs for extra context. Paul's mom is a writer and his dad is a doctor. Emily's mom is a teacher and her dad is a chef who cooks amazing food at home. Those tiny details add so much flavor to your background without making it drag on. And then we have pets. Let's be real. People absolutely love talking about animals. It's literally the ultimate conversation starter. Are you a dog person or a cat person? Paul has a dog named Max, who he says is small, brown, friendly, and funny. Emily has a cat named Luna, who is black and white, quiet, and super sleepy. Describing a pet's personality like that instantly brings warmth and charm to your intro. Actually, let's pause here for just a second because I want to highlight a stellar vocabulary word Emily used for her cat. She described Luna as elegant. Elegant means graceful and stylish in appearance or manner. This is a perfect example of how dropping in just one strong descriptive word can completely elevate a simple sentence. It really makes your English sound so much more natural and nuanced. All right, step 4, adding personality. Time for favorites and hobbies. Sharing what you love is what actually makes you relatable. Let's look at how Paul groups his everyday vocabulary. For food, he's all about vegetable pizza, though, maybe you're more of a pepperoni fan. His favorite color is blue, specifically blue like the sky, and for fun, he loves listening to rock music, playing soccer on Saturdays, and watching comedy movies to get a good laugh. Grouping your vocab into categories like food, colors, and activities gives you such a reliable, easy-to-use template. Now let's see how Emily handles this. Her vocabulary leans heavily into creative hobbies. She loves pasta, and her favorite color is green, like nature. For fun, she spends her weekends painting to relax and reading adventure stories. See, sharing specific tastes like adventure stories instead of just saying, I like books, really invites the other person to connect with you. But hey, sharing what you don't like is just as relatable. Paul does not like the taste of olives, and he literally hates waiting in long lines. Same, Paul, same. Emily dislikes very spicy food, and she's absolutely not a morning person. Waking up early is just not her thing. Admitting a harmless little dislike is such a fun, humanizing way to describe yourself, and it almost always gets a smile or a me too from the listener.
Finally, step 5, how to adapt your introduction. Because context definitely matters.
Here is the absolute most important takeaway. You do not need to say everything all at once. Remember, a good introduction is just an invitation for the other person to ask questions. It's the start of a friendship, not a rushed recitation of your entire life story. You definitely don't want to overwhelm a stranger with a massive monologue about your dog, your pizza toppings, and your childhood, all in one breath. So the context of where you are dictates what you share. If you're sitting in a new English class, focus on your name and maybe why you're learning English, like Paul, who says he just likes learning new things. But if you're mingling at a party, keep it casual. Focus on your name and hobbies, like Emily saying she loves to paint. That naturally opens the door for someone to ask, "Oh, what do you paint?" And boom, without any anxiety, a new conversation begins. Let's do a quick recap of this explainer. Look at how all these little grammatical blocks we just went over fit perfectly together to create complete profiles. We've got Paul, the 28-year-old teacher with his funny dog Max, who loves soccer, and Emily, the 25-year-old art student with her sleepy cat Luna, who loves painting. You now have the exact blueprint to build a profile just like this for yourself. I want to anchor our explainer today with this awesome core advice straight from our source material. Keep it simple, be friendly, and always smile. You really don't need complex textbook words to be interesting. A friendly vibe, a genuine smile, and simple, clear sentences will win the day every single time. So, I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. If you only had 10 seconds to make a lasting impression on a total stranger, which one of these details would you choose to define you? Think about it. Now it's your turn to practice. Jump down into the comments and write a sentence or two about yourself. Tell us your name, your country, or even just your favorite food. Subscribe for more tips and keep practicing until introducing yourself is a total breeze.